Have you ever been watching Despicable Me or the Mario movie and wondering, what if they tried to kill each other? Could a reformed supervillain take on gaming's greatest icon? Could the Grinch fold the Easter Bunny? What are we even going to do about the Sing characters in this context? All these questions and more will be answered today, because I'm Kifinosi with Wicked Binge, and this is Illumination Animated Movie Heroes, Weak to Powerful. We're kicking off our list with the most unremarkable hero, Ted, from the Lorax. The Lorax is often considered one of the weaker films in the Illumination lineup, but whether or not you agree with that sentiment, it's hard to deny that Ted is the least impressive hero in the studio so far. Let's start with the obvious. Ted is a relatively normal 12-year-old boy. He's driven entirely by the crush he has on his neighbor Audrey, to the point where it's his sole motivation for bringing back trees to Thneedville.
All right. Sounds ridiculous, but I mean, that's cool.
He's a skilled driver, which helped him on his quest and to escape from O'Hare's sabotage, but aside from that, he really doesn't have much of a skill set. The one area we will give him any sort of extra credit in is with his people skills. He may have been driven by thirst in the beginning, but Ted was ultimately able to rally Thneedville together in order to start over again and slowly topple O'Hare's monopoly on existing. We wouldn't count on Ted to save the world, but he's at least not totally useless. Although he probably would be if he weren't so desperate for the approval of his crush. Next up is the main character of the Sing franchise, Buster Moon. Despite being a koala, he might honestly be the most regular hero on our list. He's just a guy with a dream to keep his theater going strong and eventually make it big, which he ultimately succeeds in. Like most of the other characters in the Sing movies, Buster's character is seldom influenced by the fact that he's an animal. This means that we're not going to be giving him a lot of bonus points for his koala capabilities, but I guess we could consider the fact that he'd potentially be able to claw someone to death if the need arose. I'm not saying he would, it's just that koalas are notoriously aggressive after all. As another strength, he's also got money. And on that note, he was able to trick the contestants into performing for a much higher sum than he currently had because he was that confident that he could get the rest of it in time.
Hijuni ni dekusai.
What? That confidence is worth something, at least, but we're still not going to count on him to save the day unless we've got a concert to sell out. Taking the third to last spot is Max from The Secret Life of Pets. Really, Snowball put it best. Max is indeed a tiny dog.
Can I call you Tiny Dog? It fits you. Let's admit that.
But he's a tiny dog who's overcome some pretty impressive odds in his film career. He's been able to escape from a gang of stray animals, run at roughly the speed of a moving vehicle, and work with the leader of the aforementioned stray animal gang to help rescue a tiger from its abusive ringmaster. He is a domestic dog, so bravery does not come naturally to Max, but thanks to his time with Rooster and the numerous life-threatening situations he's been thrown into, Max has become a dog you can count on when you really need to, but he's less powerful and more resilient, which keeps him from a higher spot. In the same vein, up next we're giving an umbrella entry to the Mallard family. Mac, Pam, Dax, Gwen, and even Uncle Dan. They're ducks. That would be the extent of their power set. They do duck things. They have duck wings, their knowledge of the world is very limited, but on the other hand, they can fly and are pretty resourceful.
Let's fly.
Examples of this include Dax fashioning a new pair of wings from Delroy's fallen feathers, and the latter using Uncle Dan as a makeshift gun. We're not sure how, or why, you'd end up on the wrong end of a family of ducks, but they could definitely be bad news. It's also worth mentioning that they were able to outsmart the chef, who saw ducks as little more than food, and the fact that they were able to ultimately escape from him and save his other bird victims is worth some praise for sure. Next up is another tiny dog like Max, but we think Gigit deserves an ever so slight upper hand. In the first movie, Gigit rallies the other pets together to rescue Max.
Yes! Yes! Save my true love!
With no hesitation to beat information out of others if the need arose. This gives her some major points for people skills and aggression. If those skills weren't evident already, in the sequel she successfully blends in with a group of cats and becomes their de facto leader, managing to control their owner to drive them to rescue Max, who, and Snowball from Sergei. She may be a tiny dog, but like many tiny dogs in real life, Gigit is neither one to be underestimated nor messed with. If you don't want to be mauled and or run over, you'd best just stay on her good side. Finally, we have the last of the three main pets, Snowball. While he was a villain in his debut appearance, Snowball found redemption as Captain Snowball, and
Who is that? I'm Captain Snowball.
later on as a fairy princess. In both cases, he's just a cute little bunny. He's pretty quick and intelligent, but not much is going on beyond that in terms of physical skill. So why is he the highest of the pets? Simple. Snowball has killed people, or at the very least, he's done so vicariously through his flushed pet's allies. He's a respected leader to the point where even animals much stronger than him follow his orders with minimal hesitation.
The new password is don't ask the leader for the password.
He was able to hijack a car and had some ambitions to take over the world, and while it may seem hilarious at first, you'd better not let him catch you laughing. Little is known about the flushed pet's whereabouts now, but we're sure they'd gladly help Snowball out if the need were to arise again, whether that's saving the day or playing fairy princesses.
Awesome! Wow!
Now we have our first of several heroes from the Mario movie, the ever-lovable Toad. Toad here plays a similar role to his role in most Mario games. He befriends Mario quickly, guiding him through the Mushroom Kingdom with ease and demonstrating some impressive acrobatic skills. He also has great knowledge of the environment, as he warned Mario not to touch a poisonous mushroom. Okay, sure, it wasn't actually poisonous, but cautiousness is a good trait. Toad also gains some points for his bravery in helping Mario and Peach save Luigi from Bowser and his army.
Don't worry, I will protect you.
But we still can't call him objectively any stronger than his current placement would justify. He's a great ally to have, given his extensive knowledge of nature and general bravery, but Toad still isn't a one-man army by any means. If you want candy, this next entry is for you. Next is EB from Hop. Being that he's the Easter Bunny, EB has a pretty impressive skill set, but he's still surprisingly difficult to rank in terms of power. On one hand, EB is pretty resourceful and smart, able to adapt to situations so as to not expose his identity, like that notoriously awkward scene where he pretends to be a plush rabbit to not freak out Fred's sister, or when he pretends to be a ventriloquist dummy on stage.
You're a broken little guy, aren't you?
He also has the Egg of Destiny, which allows him all the powers of the Easter Bunny, mostly boiling down to flying the Easter sleigh and delivering candy to kids all over the world. Wow. It's also notable that EB's drumming skills are good enough to make all the chicks dance, which keeps him from helping Carlos take off in the sleigh. This might imply some sort of drum-centric brainwashing ability he's hiding from us, or maybe it doesn't, who knows. In any case, EB is pretty adaptable to whatever situation he finds himself in, which earns him a lot of points. But while he did manage to save Easter from Carlos, we're not sure exactly how much that says about his objective strength, so we won't be placing him any higher. Now it's time for another Umbrella entry, Margot, Edith, and Agnes from the Despicable Me series. It might be a surprise to see them so high up, but hear us out. Speaking of hearing, let's start with Agnes. She can scream with such volume and pitch that it shatters all the glass around her, which even helps rescue Gru in the second movie. On top of that, all three of the girls exhibit excellent athletic skills, and each of them has their own strengths. Most notably, Edith is capable of using Gru's weapons to help him when the need arises, and Margot acts as a voice of reason to her younger sisters to keep them in check. Being that they're still kids, they do need guidance in order to perform heroic feats, but we'd say they're worth watching, given the experience their superhero parents have provided them. Next, we have another character who turned out to be very difficult to rank, the Lorax. As you can see, the Lorax is just a funny little guy. He shows up whenever anyone threatens the forest to warn them of the danger their actions pose to the environment. He can levitate and seems to be immortal, as evidenced by the fact that when he reunites with the Onceler, he doesn't seem to have aged a bit. Now, you'd think that being immortal would automatically bump him up to the top of the list, but while the Lorax can't die, we're not sure he can make anyone else die either. I mean, there was the time he literally sent the Onceler down the river in an effort to get him out of the forest, but he wasn't able to do that on his own and needed help to rescue him. What he lacks in power, he makes up for his intelligence and resilience, which does earn him a decently high place on our list. Our next entry is a bit of a mean one, since the Grinch isn't your traditional hero, but given that he ultimately redeemed himself and saved Christmas, we're still gonna place him pretty generously on our list. Now, we're gonna go off for a minute here, because the Grinch is actually way more intelligent than he's often given credit for. The guy was able to fashion together an arsenal that was capable of stealing every single Christmas decoration and gift in Whoville. That's an impressive feat on its own, and the fact that he was able to pull it off in one night says even more. We wouldn't bet on the Grinch being able to win a one-on-one fight with any of the characters above him, though. He's definitely creative, though, and if given the proper prep time, he'd be able to do some damage. Regardless, stand proudly, Grinch. You're the strongest Illumination hero who isn't from one of the two main franchises you've all been waiting for. Kicking off the final stretch is a character we're sure you know well. He's finally here to kick some tail. It's Donkey Kong from the Mario movie. In terms of brute strength, DK is probably the strongest character in the movie next to Bowser. He's able to toss around Mario like a ragdoll before he's powered up, and on that note, DK actually didn't need any power-ups to be a pretty darn proficient fighter. Despite not needing them, he's still able to use power-ups, like in the scene where he teamed up with Mario to use fire flowers against Bowser's army.
You deserve it! No time now! Definitely later!
He was also able to help fight Bowser alongside Peach to save Mario, who was in a bind. He's not higher simply because he isn't quite as versatile as the remaining heroes on our list. Next, we have one of the most revered agents in the anti-villain league, Lucy Wilde. Being a secret agent, she has many of the skills you'd expect her to. She's great at working undercover, using her arsenal of weapons and gadgets to help her achieve her goals, and remaining mostly under the radar. She won't shy away from any physical combat either.
It's a combination of jujitsu, Oh, Krav Maga!
Lucy's a highly skilled fighter who knows how to use a lot of fighting styles and weapons. Then tack on her extensive experience, and you've got an agent who can be counted on to save the day in a variety of situations. Now, this is technically the start of our top 5, but we also didn't really know how to order the next 3, so the Bronze Medal of Power goes to Mario, Luigi, and Peach, the 3 main heroes of the Mario movie. We'll start with one thing. Mario and Luigi's superstar-powered form in the final battle would easily be getting the Gold Medal of Power if it were their default. But even without power-ups, we're gonna give them all some credit. Peach has some impressive fighting and acrobatic skills, which she passes on to Mario via an intense obstacle course that requires all the ludicrous amounts of brick smashing and jumping that you'd see in a Mario game. As for Luigi, he was able to outrun a literal army of the undead, only ultimately captured by surprise thanks to the Shy Guys. So, why don't we place them any higher? Well, simple. They're strong on their own, but these 3 really need power-ups to work at full capacity. We've already mentioned the Superstar, which lasted just a few seconds, but there are also other power-ups like the Cat Suit, the Fire Flower, and the classic Super Mushroom. And while all of them have their major benefits, they're also gone in one hit. These 3 are absolute giants in terms of power, but we've got a few more heroes who deserve the upper hand. The Silver Medal of Power goes to the first hero and the first villain in Illumination history, Felonious Gru. Really, his strength requires little explanation. In terms of his weapon arsenal, Gru has by far the most impressive of any character on our list, and it just keeps growing thanks to his inventive ally, Dr. Nefario. He's got everything from freeze rays to torture chambers to fart guns to cheese rays. Yeah, we didn't forget that one. And let's not forget that miniature lava bomb gun he fired to put that carny from the first movie in his place. Knocked over! Anyway, he might not be the smartest nor strongest by himself, but you can guarantee that Gru is always packing heat, or ice, whatever the situation demands. If that's not enough for you, he has a variety of vehicles that can move across any terrain, stealth skills that help him infiltrate high security areas, and the backup of the AVL on his side. Honestly, it's hard to imagine anyone topping Gru in terms of strength. But what is a villain without some assistance? Believe it or not, the Gold Medal of Power goes to none other than the Minions. And no, this is not a fake out. Let's start with the obvious.
No, haha.
Minions have strength in numbers and are highly devoted to their masters to the point where they'll go to any extent to help them whatever way is needed. What you might not have known, however, is that minions are immortal, and not in the way the Lorax is where it's just a maybe he's immortal deal. This is canon. One of the writers, Brian Lynch, straight up confirmed this on Twitter, saying that not only can the minions not be killed, but that if you were to hit one repeatedly with an axe, the axe would break. No matter what you hit the minions with, to some people's dismay, they will not die. I need you to process that. They can be sent up to space, set on fire, blown up, etc., etc. They'll come back like nothing ever happened. Consider the sheer amount of environments they've survived, from volcanoes to Arctic wastelands. They managed to take over an entire country in the original Minions movie, and they weren't even trying to. That's the thing with the minions that gives them our top spot. Everyone else has their ambitions and their weaknesses. The minions have neither. Their ambitions are simply to follow the most evil person they can find, and their weaknesses are non-existent. Given that they now have access to Gru and Drew's arsenals on top of that, they've undoubtedly earned the Gold Medal of Power, and the fear of all who know their true power.